Honorable Speaker, sir, Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Ministers, Honorable Leader of Opposition, members of government, Honorable Opposition members and members of the public in the gallery, and all those joining in through the virtual platform. A warm greetings to you all. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to contribute to the debate on the gracious address delivered by His Excellency the President at the opening of Parliament and to share some observations from my recent experience in the Ministry of Youth and Sports, and at the outset to thank His Excellency for setting out the national priorities that guide the work of this Honourable House and for reminding us of our shared responsibility to continue building a stronger, more inclusive and resilient Fiji. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Ministry of Youth and Sports approached this responsibility with humility and gratitude. Mr. Speaker, sir, over the past few months, we've had the opportunity to engage closely with the Ministry, its officers, youth groups, sporting organizations, and communities across the country. I'd like to take this opportunity to share some of the experiences I've observed during this period and to highlight some of the recent progress that the Ministry has been pursuing in supporting the development of our young people and strengthening sports across Fiji. Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to express our Ministry's continued commitment to advancing the development of our young people and growth of sports in Fiji. At the same time, Mr. Speaker, sir, the Ministry would also like to acknowledge the work and contributions of the outgoing Minister for Youth and Sports, and during his tenure, he provided leadership to the Ministry and supported a number of initiatives aimed at strengthening youth empowerment and sports development across the country. On behalf of the Ministry, I wish to thank him for his service and his commitment to the young people and athletes of Fiji. Mr. Speaker, sir, the challenge to look after the welfare of our youth continues to increase given the various social issues they are confronted with every day. The Ministry is always reminded of this, and they do so with a clear understanding that the responsibility before us is not simply to maintain programs, but to ensure that the work of empowering young people and strengthening sports development continues with focus and momentum. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Ministry is committed to work closely with the Honourable Prime Minister, the Permanent Secretary, and the dedicated officers of the Ministry to ensure that priorities outlined in His Excellency's address translate into practical opportunities for young people and athletes across our nation. Mr. Speaker, sir, before speaking further on the work of the Ministry, allow me to extend our nation's encouragement and support to the Fiji National Rugby Sevens team, both the men's and women's teams, for their recent performance at the Vancouver Sevens. These athletes continue to carry the pride and hopes of our nation every time they step onto that international stage. Their discipline, teamwork, and commitment inspire our young people across Fiji, and we wish them every success as they continue to compete against some of the best teams in the world. Mr. Speaker, sir, just on Saturday, the Ministry convened the National Sports Conference, bringing together stakeholders from across the sports sector, including the Fiji Sports Council, the Fiji National Sports Commission, national sporting federations, coaches, administrators, and community representatives. The conference provided an important platform to reflect on the direction of sports development in Fiji and to strengthen coordination among organizations responsible for the nurturing of our athletes. One of the key messages that emerged from the conference was the importance of stronger collaboration across the sports ecosystem. Fiji continues to produce exceptional athletes, but sustaining this success requires effective coordination between sporting bodies, government agencies, and development partners. Strengthening this partnership will allow us to better support athletes from grassroots participation through to international competition. Mr. Speaker, sir, another important milestone that took place at the conference was the official launching of the Drug-Free Sport Fiji logo. This marks an important step in promoting integrity, fairness, and accountability within Fiji's sporting system. The establishment of Drug-Free Sport Fiji demonstrates our national commitment to protecting the well-being of athletes and ensuring that Fiji's sporting achievements are built on discipline, respect for the rule of competition, and adherence to the international anti-doping standards. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Ministry also continues to support the development of sports infrastructure in communities that have historically had limited access to facilities. In this regard, commencing this month is the development of a multi-purpose hardcourt facility in Rotuma, together with plans for the establishment of a community sports ground as part of ongoing sports development efforts in the island. For communities such as Rotuma, sports facilities playing a vital role in encouraging youth participation, promoting healthy lifestyles, strengthening social cohesion, and creating opportunities for young athletes to develop their talents. Mr. Speaker, sir, in addition to sports participation, one of the key challenges facing many young people today is the transition from training into meaningful employment. To help address this challenge, the Ministry has been working in partnership with the Social Innovation Fiji, an organization that focuses on connecting young people with employment opportunities locally. Through this partnership, young people are supported in preparing for the workforce, while employers gain access to motivated young individuals who are eager to contribute productively to the economy. This initiative recognizes that many young people possess the talent and determination needed to succeed, but lack the connections required to access employment opportunities. Mr. Speaker, sir, another important partnership currently being strengthened is with the Pacific Australia Skills Program. Through this collaboration, the program is supporting the development of counseling training programs for youth officers across the region. These programs aims to equip youth officers with specialized skills that will allow them to better support young people who may be facing social, emotional, or personal challenges. Importantly, these counseling programs are being developed with the intention of achieving formal accreditation. Once accredited, the programs will also be introduced within our youth training centers so that interested young people can undertake counseling-related training and potentially pursue careers in youth and sports supporting services. Mr. Speaker, sir, over the past few months, the Ministry have had the opportunity to visit several communities, including the Lau Group, Ovalau, and Kandavo. This visit has provided valuable insight into the realities faced by our young people in rural and maritime regions. One of the most encouraging observations from this visit was the strong sense of determination and initiative among young people in these communities. Many youths are already actively engaged in activities such as farming, fishing, and small-scale enterprises. These regions also possess significant natural resources, particularly in relation to land and fisheries. With the right support, training, market access, these resources have the potential to generate sustainable livelihood opportunities for many young people. Mr. Speaker, sir, at the same time, this visit reinforced an important lesson. Youth development cannot succeed through the efforts of one ministry alone. Effective youth empowerment requires coordination across multiple sectors, including agriculture, fisheries, education, labor, infrastructure, and community development. I wish to therefore thank government for the initiative already being implemented to support our young people. At the same time, there remains an opportunity to strengthen coordination amongst ministry and stakeholders working within the youth development space so that resources and programs can be delivered more effectively. Mr. Speaker, sir, looking ahead, Fiji is also preparing for its participation in the Expo 2027 in Belgrade, Serbia, which will commence in April 2027. Fiji's participation will highlight the connection between play, music, and sports, areas that strongly reflect Fiji's identity, culture, and international recognition. The Ministry of Youth and Sports has been designated as the lead agency coordinating Fiji's preparations for this global event. Expo 2027 presents an opportunity for Fiji to showcase the creativity, talent, and resilience of our young people, while also strengthening international partnership in sports development, cultural exchange, and youth entrepreneurship. Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me to remind all honorable members that meaningful change often takes time. Youth development and sports advancement require patience, sustained effort, and strong partnership. While progress may not always be immediately visible, the work that is being undertaken today will continue to create opportunities for young people in the years ahead. Our young people are not only the leaders of tomorrow, they are active contributors to the progress of our nation today. When we invest in their skills, their well-being, and the opportunities, we strengthen the future of Fiji. Mr. Speaker, sir, I once again thank His Excellency the President for his address and for setting out a vision that calls for unity, resilience, and inclusive national development. I also acknowledge the dedication of the ministry staff and the many stakeholders and organizations that continue to support youth development and sports advancement across our country. Together, through continued collaboration and commitment, we can ensure that our young people are empowered to reach their full potential and that sports continues to unite and inspire our nation. In closing, Mr. Speaker, please allow me to remind this Honorable House a statement that is shared by His Excellency in his address. I quote, "Political rhetoric and personal attacks may generate momentary attention, but they erode public trust and distract us as members of Parliament from the real challenges facing our people. History will judge this Parliament not by the sharpness of debate, but by the wisdom of its outcome. The tone we set as honorable members in this House will shape not only public confidence of today, but the health of our democracy tomorrow. May God bless our young people, may God bless our athletes, and may God continue to bless our beloved Fiji." Now,